Hi everyone, it's Norman Kochnick here on Eyes on Cricket with Norman Kochnick. Barnstead boy, that is Chris's father, is online. He's looking forward to a brilliant series decided with two fine teams. I wonder what Chris is going to bleed out about that today. So the reality is that India are certainly in a position to be able to justify some form of favouritism. Hello, Ray. He's also online. We've got Chris Vernon joining us shortly. His father's already online. I have tried to get two of the Sri Lankan greats. That is Rebecca Van Dort, who was the wicketkeeper for Sri Lanka at 19. She actually, just an interesting story. She may not be coming on. We're not sure. She has moved to Australia. She actually lived in Sydney with me, with her friend there, who also played for Sri Lanka, Nipuni Hunsaker, for some, lived for 3, 4, 5, 6 months. And then they moved to Melbourne and have continued to live there for a good couple of years now. I've played cricket at a more park level and then have returned to a decent first-class level, and they're playing for, I believe it to be Carlton, and they're also playing potentially in the future for Victoria, which will be excellent as well. So that'll be something. I'm getting a phone ringing here. I'm not sure. So we might have Rebecca Van Dort right on the phone now coming here. So I'll just wait and see if she's on. The fact is, these two lovely girls have been playing for their country and have been amazing ambassadors. Got a quite interesting story to tell, and they're going to join us today. And we'll see whether they're going to answer the phone. I can see a lot of Gavin Russell. We certainly will be. He's a good friend of mine. He's busy at the moment with the so-called Unacademy Road Safety World Series. In fact, I think the teams that are left are, in fact, there's India are in the final, and I think the winner of Sri Lanka, and I think it's South Africa. I have to confirm that. But it looks like India will play the winner of that in the next match. I think it's literally happening as we speak. They're going to be very interesting matches. In fact, India you'd argue India look favourites after the performances of Tendulkar and INDvsENG and that allotment. Chris is on. Hi, Chris.
Good morning.
Well, yes, good morning, but it's very much evening here. Where are the two lovely ladies? Now we're talking about Aparna and also Pretty. They may not be here at the moment. We can't have everybody on every single day. It's too much. I mean, it's a lot for us all to try and meet. So Chris does a very good job. It's my channel, so I'm obviously here. But the girls can't be on all the time. We can't have them on every single day. They've had a great run for quite a while, so I am trying to blood some new people. Today we're meant to have both Rebecca Van Dort and Nipuni Hunsaker. They were very keen to come. They might be a little bit shy, I'm not sure, but we'll wait and see whether they're coming on deck. They promised me they will. We'll just keep talking for the moment. I've noticed there's a lot of comments in the media about, obviously, the fifth match, Chris, and in particular around, or the make up the side for one, but Virat Kohli's on and off the field scenario has certainly come up a few times, but it does look like he did have an upper body strain of some sort, or niggle, or cramping, and he wanted to make sure that he didn't make that any more severe, which is a fair point. And for Kohli to want to do that, that's pretty surprising because he's an extremely fit guy. I would not normally like to do that. Any thoughts there, Chris?
Yeah. There's 0% chance that Kohli has gone off unless he had to. Like, there's absolute people were saying that he went off to let Sharma captain for the last 5 overs, which is just complete and utter rubbish.
It is
He's the sort of captain that would be there at the end of the world. He's going down the ship, Kohli. He's not going off to give Sharma a go at captaining at the end. So he must have obviously felt a twinge or something. So I'm sure he'll be fine. I doubt they'll rest him. There's some talk that he might get rested for the last game, but quite a big series, I think. Now, I know that both sides are using it as preparation for the World Cup, but they're both going to want to win it, that's for sure.
Oh, look, I don't really think between the likes of Rohit Sharma, Ajinkya Rahane, and Kohli, there's any issues whatsoever. They're all very experienced players. They're great friends. There's nothing untoward about their ways. They know their hierarchy. Bless you. And I think you'll think that that's okay. So I'm actually having a bit of a. It's actually quite. It's been raining like cats and dogs here, and you've also got not thunderstorms, but very inclement weather here at the moment. All the games are on. There's flooding on the streets. In fact, they're saying they're urging people in Sydney not to go out tomorrow. But I have got a cup here that I've got. Does that look familiar?
The Bat and Ball Hambledon.
Yeah.
Right, it's the name of Gravesend's cricket ground, isn't it? The Bat and Ball, isn't there? A Bat and Ball pub, Gravesend.
That's the ground where they had a pavilion built by Broadpenny Down Association, opened in June 1909 by various people. But the reality of this, what's the most significant thing about this place, Chris?
What do I think about it?
Now, what's the significance of this place? What happened at this particular Bat and Ball hotel
in England?
Yes,
I'm not sure. It's no longer a county ground. That's for sure. It used to be.
Well, that's where the rules of cricket are written.
Okay.
They actually sat at that pub and they ended with then they had a place on the wall. They actually went through what they believed to be the rules of cricket, and that was known for that ground. It is a very significant place for that reason. And it's a place that we played cricket at, the ground nearby.
Yeah. I've played there once, I think, if it's the ground we're thinking about.
Yeah, it's very windy, very exposed ground. Lovely little pavilion. Lovely pub right next to it as well. And quite frankly, the rules of cricket were written there, which would have to be classified as a big deal.
No, absolutely. Yeah, no doubt.
So they got it written down in handwriting that was actually then kept in that format and then duplicated, and it became the law of the land.
Awesome.
So music harmony saying root greater than Milan in the subcontinent. Well, I would argue that I'm still a little bit miffed as to why Root's not in the squad. I really am. Don't you think that a little bit, Chris? I mean,
I think
if he wants to be,
I think that he's probably worth a place in the squad. But England have got England have got this theory and the way that's worked for them, and he just doesn't quite fit into what Captain Morgan wants to have in his side. So England are pretty got a load of depth in their batting at the moment and their bowling. So it's just it's not the worst problem to have, isn't it? Yeah, I mean, I think that there's arguments for both, and I can see why he isn't playing. But I think that it's tough on Root because I don't think he's done a lot wrong.
No, I mean, again, we pull up his T20 international record the other day. He has played a reasonable number of them and hasn't done badly, if I can remember correctly. In fact, you brought him on the last time, didn't you?
Yeah, I can probably have a look for you. Actually, give me a sec.
Yeah, let's bring it up again because I still think there's some relevance in discussing this.
T20 internationals, 32 matches, averages 36, strike rate 126.
This is not bad by any means.
No. One-day cricket, average 150 games, averages 50.1, 1600s.
That's absolutely magnificent, isn't it?
No,
really.
I don't know if he's in the one-day squad. I mean, I can probably find out.
Oh, you're in for the coming up. Well, then the question I was going to ask you, is he actually physically in India still? He must be.
No, he's
actually, there's been some questions. Now, actually, there has been people asking me, where is the ODI squad and why hasn't it been announced? Now, that's a great question. I don't recall there being an ODI squad specifically announced?
India announced their squad this morning. I saw that on Twitter because I saw DeBassis had mentioned it.
All right, what's that? Can you go through that?
I can probably find it. Here we go.
Does it differ much from the T20 squad?
There's a few different names, I think. Let me try and find it. My internet goes slow and we're streaming online, so.
No, but okay. It would have got a Guernsey on most sites. I haven't, to be honest with you, I haven't seen that, so I'm a bit miffed at that one. But you're saying that DeBassis tweeted that, did he?
Yeah. In fact, I can look. He didn't reply. I replied to him, but he didn't come back. DeBassis.
Here we go. I see it. Kohli, Sharma, Dhawan, Gill's back in.
Yeah.
Shreyas, Sky, as I'll call him, Hardik Pandya, Punt, Rahul as keeper. So that's saying that Punt is not keeping. Oh, sorry, they're both.
No, Punt's listed as keeper as well. They've obviously got
keepers.
two.
Yeah, they're both keepers. They bring Siraj Natarajan back in as well. Prasidh Krishna, I don't know that name offhand. So there you go. There has been some interesting movements there. I don't know of that name. Do you know the history of that name, Prasidh Krishna?
I think he's a bowler. I'm not too sure.
Well, it's clearly a bowler. He's in the bowling makeup there. But
yeah. Squads for England.
Probably should ask the group more widely about that selection. I mean, it doesn't look necessarily any. I mean, I applaud having Siraj in the team. I applaud having Gill on the side actually too, because he's still a bit of a dasher. I don't think there's anything wrong with his technique.
Yeah, they've obviously rested a few players. It seems that they've gone in fairly full strength on the one days. I think they're just seeing it as, if it was against someone else, then they might have rested a couple. But actually, yeah, they might have rested someone else. But they see England as probably the best side in the world, apart from themselves, obviously. Before I get shouted at by the people watching, so. Yeah, I think they're just seeing it as a good chance to test themselves and see how people cope against the best.
Okay, so effectively, okay. Well, let's look at any omissions. Washington Sunder's there.
Had any surprise omissions?
No.
No.
Axel not there.
Not that I can.
No, Axel's not there. Kuldeep is.
Mm-hmm.
Krunal Pandya, as well as Hardik Pandya.
Yeah.
Natarajan, Kumar, Siraj, Krishnan, Shardul, Thakur. So they've actually not included Aksa Patel. Not a hell of a lot different. Shikhar Dhawan's still being persisted with. So yeah,
I think that's fair enough. He's pretty good, isn't he? He's not he's not a bad player. So I don't know if England have named their squad yet. I can't find it anywhere.
No, well,
they must have done.
Well, we should go to the ECB website, and that would have been sent into the English media WhatsApp page if that was the case, and I haven't seen that, so I'm making an assumption that they haven't announced that. Let's have a look. Now, the last thing that was brought up there was the Ben Stokes interview, which occurred, which was quite good. Doesn't look like the English have done that, actually. Are you able to find it?
I'm looking. I haven't found anything. So.
No. If anyone online has sent,
England have music harmony said.
Okay, there's a Prathamesh actually says, I hate people in India who call 150 Ks, I'm guessing, bowlers a medium pacer. That's true. I wouldn't call them medium pace either. If that's what they're calling, that's a bit ridiculous. Satyam Mishra says, Norman, sir, what's your take on the worst decision umpiring yesterday? I think that was clearly not in my thoughts a good decision. Looking at the replays in particular, the ball looked like it was more on the ground than not. Admittedly, we can't really see where the fingers are totally, but I think it was a poor decision. And I wish they didn't get involved in this case, but anyway. What do you think, Chris?
Yeah, I mean, it was probably. I think it was the right decision given the way that the rules are. I'm not saying it was the right decision given what I think. I think that the Milan catch probably looked like it did bounce. It's impossible to say, and given what the rules are, the soft signal, I think the third umpire made the right decision. If that makes sense.
Can you explain for the purpose of our viewers what the soft decision or soft signal means? Why are they using the word soft?
So the soft signal is basically what the umpires think it happened. So if the umpires think it's out from seeing, I don't know how they could see it from so far away. Then it's like the LBW. If it's given out, you have to prove that it's definitely not out. With the decision. So if you're given the soft signal as out, the third umpire has to conclusively prove without any doubt that it's not out. And given the camera angles and the way that we know fingers on the ball can be quite hard to see because of the camera making sort of 2D.
Yeah.
I think that was the right decision. I think you have to go with the you can't overturn it based on that, even though it was possibly did bounce.
It's sad that we're sitting here talking about it, to be really, really honest. I found that I am a firm believer when a decision is made on the day of a game, whether it's good, bad, or ugly, it's left there. Even if it may be a howler, even though it might be controversial, even though it may appear to be a form of prejudice or one-sidedness, it doesn't matter. It happened on the day, it's over. The results are there. You cannot overturn the results based on what may or may not be found out later, even if it may or may not be correct. You've got to allow the decision to happen on the day. And that's the beauty of sport, whether it's a rugby league game or a cricket game or any game. A mistake that's made is unfortunate, and we don't want to have it happen again, but it cannot be seen as a rule that can be changed or can be overturned later on.
Satya Mishra, but so how can you know from 60, 70 metres away that the foot touched the boundary of the ball did not bounce? Well, that's the problem, Satya. I mean, it's just the rules. It's not the player's fault. It's not the third umpire's fault. I saw some tweets saying that the third umpire should be sacked because it was a bad decision, but he made the right decision based on what he has to do. You have to conclusively prove that it wasn't out. And as much as we think that it probably did bounce, you can't. There was no way that you could prove it definitively. So I think given the rules, they got the right decision. And in the test match when Ben Stokes took that catch at the second slip, it probably bounced. But you can't prove, but the umpire said it was not out or whatever it was. And they came to the right decision there. So it's a double-edged sword. If you swing it the other way, if that was Rohit Sharma at third man and Darren Malan was batting, and the soft signal was out and that decision had been made, do you think Virat Kohli and all the Indian fans watching would still be moaning about it? They'd say right decision was made based on the rules and the regs. So I find it funny that Kohli moans, and they all moan, the captains. But if that swung in the other way, Kohli would have probably agreed that it was the right decision. So we just have to go with it, and that's the way it is.
Well, it didn't affect the result of the match, did it really?
I don't think so. Well, no, I don't think so.
Yeah, but I can remember many genuine mistakes being made in the game in the past when these rules weren't in existence, and people would just say, right, unfortunately, I got it wrong on the day, but that was the decision I made on the day under what I thought was a very informed or well-judged decision. So I guess we can't do a damn thing about it.
Are the two girls not coming on, the Sri Lankan ladies you said were popping on?
Well, they, as recently as about 20 minutes ago, I messaged them. I said, they're coming. Thumbs were up. They're coming. But there's nothing wrong with it, but they do get a bit shy, and I can't control that, can I? It's unfortunate they don't come. This is the second time I've asked them. In both cases, they've agreed, so I won't go there again.
Music Harmony. So when did Kohli moan about it? Read full statements. I'm not saying he made a statement to the press afterwards. If you actually watch the game, he was very unhappy when Sky was given out. He was third umpire is very animated, and the commentators and the press said that he spoke to the umpires at the interval in between innings. So I'm not saying he made a statement or a complaint about it. I'm just saying he was clearly unhappy with what he thought was the right decision made, and you could tell that. And if you watch the game back, Music Harmony, you would agree with me. So I'm not saying he complained after the game. I'm just saying that he was very animated about what he thought the right decision was. But if we flip it the other way, then he would have been he wouldn't have been saying the same thing. So it's one of those things. I think it's a shame it takes so long to do it. England took 2 hours to bowl 20 overs. It's meant to be quick. It's meant to be an hour and 15 minutes. So, it is what it is. But I think that the rules need to be looked at more than I think the decisions yesterday, given what the rules are, was fair.
Okay.
Yeah, but music harmony. So that isn't moaning. He's always animated. He has every right to have a conversation with the match referee or the umpires. I completely agree. But do you think he was having a conversation saying, "Brilliant decision, well done"? I would have given the same decision. Of course, he wasn't. He was questioning that he thought it was the wrong decision. So, I'm not saying that Kohli can't do that, because I'd probably be doing the same. But it's easy when you're on the wrong end of it. If it was the other way around, I don't see him having any issues with it. So we just have to get on with it. It is what it is.
Okay. And how should you handle that?
They need to look at the rules, don't they? It's like the DRS in football at the moment. It's easy saying the refs are rubbish. Well, when it's the rules, the rule book with the soft signal needs to be addressed. Whether or not you completely scrap the soft signal and go with the umpire, but it's like the umpire's call in LBWs, isn't it? It's good to have some kind of discretion to the umpires. Otherwise, you might as well get rid of them a lot of the time. It seems to be that now they're not. Looking at no balls. It just seems that the umpires are gradually being sort of taken out of the game for technology. And I don't know what the solution is there, but maybe they'll address the soft signal view on things.
Yeah. So is it a soft signal as opposed to a hard signal? Is that the terminology difference?
Well, I don't think there's a hard signal. I think it's just the soft signal is what do we think it is. I'm not entirely sure on that, but I haven't heard the term hard signal used. No.
All right. So we've seen the Indian squad. Do you think the England squad will feature any differently? What do you think we'll see? Wood, Archer, the likes of Holly Stone in that squad?
I don't know. I'm really not sure. It's surprising that they haven't announced it yet, because the game isn't too far away. I assume they must do it today. Who would I expect to be in there? Wokes, I would expect to be in there. Root potentially. Who else?
Root would have been potentially, definitely.
Well, I mean, I would expect Root to probably be there. Depends. He might be his rest period. We don't know exactly what his conversation or his plans are, so he might be rested. Wokes, I'd imagine, will be there. But yeah,
Milan will still be in his position.
I think Milan just plays in the T20 stuff, to be honest. So the change would be in that batting order potentially. Root in for Milan, I would imagine. They're still open in the one days. Stokes will probably go to 4, Morgan 5, Butler 6, be something like that.
So why doesn't Ben Stokes bat higher in the T20 format?
Just because they see that in that format there are better players, more destructive players potentially up the order. That's all. He batted at 5 yesterday and was very good. I mean, England have just got a lot of very, very fine players. They could, all the guys in that top 6 probably take Roy out. Butler, Bairstow, Milan, Stokes and Morgan could probably all bat in each position and do very well. So it's just England have got a lot of options. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So we've got a question there from Ismooks. Good Kyle Mills on the show for England. Get Kyle Mills on the show for England New Zealand series. Well, we will look at getting some New Zealand input there, I must say. And I have some people in mind already. I have some pretty good contacts there, so we may have quite a few that are available. There'll be a few that'll be actually over there too. McCullum, I think, is going to be there, and so is the likes of
Ian Smith will be here. I'd have thought he's pretty good.
Ian Smith. Well, he may not be available, but he would be another. You'll find that there's the one that the people that actually follow the series with Sri Lanka recently, Duel.
Yeah, he's interesting. I'm not sure. I don't mind him. He commentates on the T20 and the T10. He had a bit of a pop at Dale Steyn. I don't know if you saw this on Twitter.
Yeah.
He had a go at Dale Steyn for having long hair and having a midlife crisis. And I think Dale Steyn came back with something like, "It's a bit rich coming from you," and posted a picture of Simon Dill had 2 earrings or something when he was playing for New Zealand. He said, "You of all people questioning my look when you look like this." It's just quite funny. I mean,
You know,
fair play
it
to
was
Simon
amusing
Gordon.
rather than vicious. It was not vicious.
You've got the balls to call out arguably the greatest fast bowler that's lived in the last 20 years in Dale Steyn. You know, I don't think anyone could debate that he's probably the best in the last 15, 20 years. Calling him out for his appearance when you played not much cricket, Dawl, but there we go.
Well, Fleming will be there in some capacity, I think, as well. He tends to be there as well.
Vasant Narain, he's asked us a few times. We'll answer this question. Hi, Chris. What are your expectations on tomorrow's match? And will England bring Moeen Ali instead of Curran? Should India place Sky at number 3 in ODIs or at number 4? Where will you place Sarai? Your take, Chris? I don't know what England will do. They seem to be fairly stuck with their side. I think this is the side that will probably play the first World Cup game. Barring maybe Moeen Ali will come in, but I don't know what they'll do with that. Sky, I don't think we want to get carried away with him. I know that he had a brilliant start and he's done very well in the IPL, but you don't want to overhype him. Same as Kishan. Let them play a few games, let them settle in, let them bed in, and then see how they go. But it's a lot of expectation now to go in and back it up. So if he does that, great for him, but it's not easy.
But you actually said that both Ishan Kishan, Sky, perhaps any Iyer, even Agarwal are playing for one position between those.
I think in the T20 World Cup side, I think that they're probably playing for one slot. Yeah, I reckon I could have a prediction what India's side will be in the first 2020 game. No injuries in the World Cup. And I think that only one of them can get in. Yeah, I mean, I'm happy to write it down and predict it, and we'll see.
Well, we did talk about this. You talked in terms of Rahul and Sharma with
I'll write it down now.
Yeah, you did. Kohli was at first drop, you said, not second. And then
I don't know where they see Kohli batting. I think that he should be batting at 3, but it's quite clear that maybe he likes batting at 4. I don't know. So, it's interesting to see what they go with it. But, good luck to the guys. I think that... I think that there's only one slot available in that side, and that's why they're playing 6 batters, just to see what they can do with it and who's sort of better fitted and getting no better bowling attack at the moment to try it out than England's. I think so.
There's a question there from Satyam Mishra: how did I come into contact with Indian channels? And do you know them personally, like Extra Time, because I came to know you from there? Well, that's the reality. I've known the people from Extra Time, the Now Sports Today, the ABP News, elements of Star Sports and Times of India for about at least most of them for 10, 12 years, some as long as 15 years. And they've been particularly good friends of mine, from Aburi Majumdar to a Kuntal Chakraborty to a Tabasha Sen to even people from the Hindu, Dinaka, Gautam from in Kolkata there. There's a whole range of Simon Patra, who was a magnificent writer, who's more into other things these days. We have the likes of Kritika Nadu, and there's a whole host of them. Harini Rana. I could keep going. There's a number, probably another 10 or so more. A guy called Lakendra in Chennai, not Chennai, in Kolkata. Oh, there's a plethora of people from like Sachin Bajaj, based in Mumbai. Someone else has very close contacts with him as well. A guy named Gatu, who's based in Amritsar, where I had time with Harbhajan Singh and Inzamam ul Haq. We had the likes of Lakshman Shivaramakrishnan in Chennai, Srikanth also there, and he's a greater family. Kunal Sharma through Spartan. I could go on. There's quite a few more that I can't remember them all. That's pretty much a good widespread amount. All right. So is that exciting? That's how it all happened. And as recently as November last year, I had a TV show about 4.5 years. It was Through the Eyes of a Cricketer, where I hosted some 30 ex-cricketers, including Monty, Adam, that are on the show, Jeff and Doug, Ian Davis. They've all come to the show. I know them all from that period as well. But more recently, in November, none of the Indian media could come to Australia due to COVID, and I helped out Tabasha Sen with his Extra Time, and just grew from there. So that's in a nutshell why. I've also with Sri Lankan press. I had a lot of relationships there with even going back to the start of Dinesh Chandimal and Niroshan Dickwalla and a whole host of other people in Bangladesh. I had a lot of time there with the female cricket, women's cricket in Sri Lanka, some of the Pakistani girls. It goes on, Malaysia, UAE, quite a spread. So yeah, I have it, and also of course the contingent of all the Australian press, everyone from the likes of Gideon Hay to a whole host. There's a whole host of folks. So we talk about Chris Barrett, who's the chief sports editor of the Sydney Morning Herald, a great friend of mine. So we had quite a few involved there. And then the West Indies, I go on there. There's a whole host of players. I've got an actual TV special which I put together, which I need to probably rehash, but bring back to life, which talks about the relationship there. I was actually, Chris, on this morning on Antiguan Parish League, which is like their local television, which goes countrywide. I was speaking with the head of Antigua cricket there, and we're going to have a relationship there where, you know how you talked about some of the people you knew there. I mentioned that, and also the relationship with Simon Willis, that we can perhaps firm up Antigua even more and play more and more games and bring Indian teams there. And a part of my membership, we should consider a tour of, say, Indian likelies with us to Antigua.
Yeah, that'll be good. I'm keen. Yeah, anything like that. They're great people. It's a great place, isn't it? So plenty of run punch, I'm sure.
Yeah, so that's a bit about that, Satya Mishra, so you know. Ray saying England should drop Milan and bring Billings and put him at 6 and Stokes at 3. Now, I don't mind that thought process, but what's your thoughts, Chris?
Yeah, I think that Milan deserves a run. You know, yesterday was the first time in his 2020 career, and he's played 23 games, that he's gone 3 games without getting a 50. You know, that's pretty decent. You know, 3 consecutive innings without scoring a 50. It's the first time he's done that. So, you know, he's struggled a little bit on the slower wickets against the guys bowling the cutters and the spin, but, you know, he's number 1 in the world. You know, statistically, he's better than Kohli, better than everyone. I'm not saying he is, before anyone jumps down my neck, but, you know, statistically at the moment, he's been the best form player in the world. So he deserves to have a run in the side, and he'll play in the IPL, and it'd be interesting to see how he goes because, you know, the best players tend to adapt and get better. So we just have to see.
I don't think Milan's going anywhere, to be honest.
No, I don't. Same with KL Rahul. You know, I don't mind seeing these guys given a run to prove themselves because there's bigger things this year. So, yeah, no, he's a good player, and you know the good thing is that there's plenty of good players to come in if not. So, yeah, England have got a very good squad, a good backup. So, yeah.
Ronald Narnia says he was bored. He wants to talk on cricket. We are talking on cricket. I just brought up some of the aspects of answering everyone's questions. So I'm not sure what the problem is. Okay, read them out. That's very hard.
This is my Indian team. So all the people watching, I think Music Harmony agrees with me, which is means I must be right because he's the gospel when it comes to cricket. So I think this will be India's side without injuries, assuming everyone's fit for the first game. I've had a couple of
of the
Cricket World Cup, the T20 World Cup. So it'd be Sharma, KL Rahul, Sky at 3, Kohli at 4, Pant at 5, Hardik at 6, Ravi Jadeja at 7, Washington Sundar at 8, Bhuvi Natarajan or Shami at 9, one of those 3. I think that's the bowling slot. Chalal at 10, and Bumrah at 11.
So Chahal as opposed to Chahar.
Yeah, the one who's played the first 3. I think he'll get the gig in the first game. Yeah.
So why have you gone off Ishan Krishan all of a sudden and put Sky in front? Wouldn't they be
I've not gone off
one/both?
Yeah, it could be. I just think that Sky looks a little bit more. He's played a lot more games. You know, he's 30 years old. He's played 100 IPL games, and I think for World Cups you either go for form or you go for experience. Tend to, and I think with Sky you get both. You know, he looked a little bit better against the seamers. You know, Ishan Kishan did well in the second game, but got rattled a little bit. I think Wood hit the splice of his bat a couple of times in the third game, then got bounced out by Jordan. So I just think that Sky offers a little bit more stability and I think a little bit more consistency at number 3, which is what you need. So I think that I think that they'll go with Sky at 3 or Aya. I think that Kishan's probably third on the list of those three. And then it'll be Boovie, Natcharan or Shami, depending on who has a good IPL, depending who's fit. So
if you're saying Sky is ahead of Ishan Kishan, you want to say, how come when the team was selected first up, Ishan Kishan got a higher and better batting position and the likes
I think that the left-hand factor and open the batting. I don't know if Sky's opened the batting a lot. I think the fact that he was left-handed probably factored into him opening as well. And I know he's opened a little bit in the past. So we'll just have to wait and see. I mean, it's not an exact science. I'm only predicting what I think. So no,
we're not. I'm not just asking you why. That's all.
Yeah, no, I think there's one bowling slot. I don't know if they'll play Sundar. I think that if they're going to play Chalal and Jadeja, I think that Sundar's done quite well and offers another option. He's an off spinner, and they don't have an off spinner, so a lot of sides have left-handers. So they'll want to go with a spinner that turns it away from the bat. So I would imagine that Sundar will play it, and he bats as well. So, but yeah, no, they look a decent side. I think that them and England. I think England's full-strength side and India's full-strength side are pretty closely matched. I think that if India had their full-strength side in this series, I think the scoreline would still be 2-2. I think that England is still as good.
So we've talked about the synergies of IPL. We've got, for example, Punt's playing with Ishan Kishan. There's a few others in that squad. What England players are playing with Indian players in the IPL that they will enjoy the relationship?
I don't know. A lot of the English boys obviously play at Rajasthan. I think.
So where is okay? No, but hang on. There's another, isn't it? Either Bangalore. It's Bangalore that's got a lot playing from both teams.
Bangalore. I don't think there's many English guys at Bangalore. I think Moeen Ali might be there. I can't remember. I think did he get picked up by Bangalore? I can't remember.
Okay. So we need to make a point of actually looking at that the exposure of some of the English players and or Indian players to each other's talents in the same team that could end up having a form of advantage or a perceived advantage when they play a test series.
Yeah, it's an interesting point, isn't it? But these guys are the best in the world, so I don't think that they'll read into it too much. There's so much analysis and so much stuff you can watch on the telly and on the computers now that they know their players inside out anyway. So I don't think they'll be looking into that too much. I just wanted to answer Anand Shiva Singh said, Chris, not sure how you were saying that David Malan is better than Kohli, or are you just comparing strike rate? I didn't say he was better. I just said statistically on the world rankings at the moment, he's been the most consistent in-form player. I know England have played quite a bit of 2020 cricket, so Virat Kohli is a much better player. But I'm just saying David Malan deserves his extended run because of how well he's done for England.
Yeah, look, I'm saying Sudan's Tyagi side with Rohit looks fairly stable upper order. I think it's pretty much what you see. Chahal is in there with Bumrah and Boovie. That's probably the balance they're looking at getting, aren't they? Really, a good.
A few people saying that they'll only go with 5 bowlers. If India go with 5 bowlers, I think they'll struggle to win the World Cup. I don't think Hardik Pandya is good enough as your 5th bowler to guarantee 4. I know he bowled all yesterday, but statistically that's an anomaly. I think that was the best, most economical 4-over spell he's ever bowled in his 2020 career, or the best since 2016 when he was playing for Baroda, his state side or something. So he's a luxury bowler, similar to a Stokes, where some days he'll bowl 2 or 3 good overs and get a couple of wickets, but you don't want to have to rely on him. And it nearly cost him yesterday with Sundar. Sundar yesterday, if you had that 6th option, only would have bowled 1 or 2 overs, and then you probably win the game really comfortably. Kohli had to bowl him 4 overs, and England targeted it, and it nearly cost them. So they'll definitely want to go with 6 bowling options, and I think Hardik is the 6th bowler when you bring Jadeja in.
So what do you know of the other Pandya they've got in the side? Krunal Pandya.
left arm spinner and bats as well.
Orthodox?
Yeah, left arm orthodox. Yeah, probably I would say a bowling all-rounder. Can give it a whack, but he's probably in sort. And I'm sure people will correct me, but he's probably in sort of the Axar Patel role. He bowls and bats a little bit. He's probably slightly better bat than Axar Patel. But
do you
yeah,
think Axar Patel's hard done by not being in the squad?
I don't know. I think that he's always done okay in the IPL and the one-day stuff, and he's done. But I don't think he's set the world light. I think he's just been a solid pro if you look at his stats. So he's obviously come into the Test side and done very well, but you know, he won't be able to consistently keep that up. You know, his record's only going to get worse from here. So yeah, we'll just have to wait and see what they go with.
Yeah, I'm just looking at some stats. I don't know whether I really don't know whether they're going to change much to this bowling line. And even though Shami's a proven bowler, he needs to have some games under his belt to be able to qualify.
Yeah, he's got 6 or 7 months. He's got I'm sure he might be back for the IPL, and then he's got the Test series in England, the one-day series. There'll be plenty of cricket for him to prove his fitness, I think.
But okay, what about not so much away, but in India? It's not about how well you bowl away from India now. They're looking at zeroing in on the performances in India.
Yeah, but they'll know how well he's bowled over the years. So I don't think they'll be saying he's bowled 3 Test matches in England. He's match fit, but hasn't bowled in India for a while. You know, if he's match fit, he'll be in that squad.
But there was a lot of word that he's not match fit, so he's carrying a bit. He was quite lethargic and may have dodged a bullet from, you know, the team themselves, plus the coaching staff somewhat, really.
Just looking at music harmony side, you won't win a World Cup with 5 bowlers. If you've got Pandya, Jadeja, Washington, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. If you've got 6 bowlers, sorry, I think I've misread your side. You need to have 6 bowlers. Look how well England's bowling attack looks. I would have Mo and Ali in there instead of probably.
So are you looking for people to give their teams now?
Yeah, I'm just interested to see what people think. Obviously, I'm in England and don't know. I haven't got my ear to the ground as much as some of those guys. So, yeah, I think that it'd just be interesting to see what they'll go with.
Yeah. So my squad, if you'd like to hear it, I'm not sure whether you want to hear it, Chris. Do you want to hear it?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
I'd replicate yours.
I'll write it down for you, Norman. I'll write it down. See who's closer. We can have a schooner on who gets closer to the India's World Cup side.
All right. Well, you have to continue to say both Rohit and Rahul, but you're saying Sky over the top of Ishan Kishan. I actually think the opposite.
Okay.
Doesn't mean that he won't be in the greatest squad. I would put him in first.
No, we're going starting 11 for the first game. I'm assuming they'll be playing.
I've just told you what I want. I want the same opening pair, and I want Ishan Kishan in there. He's done what I believe to be the right thing. So is then you would have obviously Kohli, then Punt.
Yeah.
And the question is whether you would then include perhaps Yadav in the batting lineup as well. Can we fit him in? If we have both Jadeja. Sorry?
It's up to you. It depends what you do with your side.
I'd have him in. Yes, I'd have him in, and I'd have both Jadeja and potentially Sundar with Punt. That leaves
going
2 or 3.
Punt's at 5. Who's batting at 6? Sky.
Yeah.
Okay.
Followed by Jadeja.
So no Hardik Pandya.
Sorry?
So don't play Hardik Pandya.
No, you didn't. I know. Okay, let me start again. Okay.
This is what I mean. It's tough.
Rahul, Ishan Kishan.
Yeah.
Okay. No, actually, Ishan Kishan and or Yadav. Sky. Yep. Then Kohli, then
Pant
or Pandya. Either way of the order. Then we roll into
so 6, 5, and 6 is Pant and Pandya, as you're saying.
Yep.
Yeah.
Jadeja 7, Sundar 8. Now I'd have Bumrah is not. Let's just say 9, and I would put. I guess I had to put Chahal at 10. But then we've got the other position between Takor, the likes of
Boovy.
Boomy and Sharma. I think they will actually go.
And Natarajan.
And Natarajan. I don't think he's going to get it. I think they would have. Well, they'd have to play him tomorrow. If he's sitting there and he's ready to go in the squad, they should be throwing him in there. Don't you think?
Yeah, they've got 1 day as in the IPL, so they won't be rushing him back if he's not fit. So we'll just have to see. I don't know how much.
The places have been being fit. That goes without saying.
Who's your number 11? Who are you putting in?
Well, we just talked about that.
You said I've got a list of. You didn't say who you would have as your number 11.
Chahal. Don't include Chahal.
Chahal's 10. You've got Seema. So you've got Thakur, Shami, Natarajan, basically. You said.
I'm probably going to go still Shami.
Shami, okay.
But we'll judge by his face when he has the next chance to bowl how good he is. He tends to be pretty visual and vocal about what his position is.
I'll keep that.
Can we get the viewers to put their 11 or their greater 11?
A few people have been sticking them in, so.
Yeah, but let's get more of them in.
It'll be interesting to see if someone like Padikal or these young guys have really good IPLs, that whether they'll be in the squad or whether they'll be, like Munchie mentioned, a wildcard pick. I think that it's interesting because I think that India are in the position probably more than any because of how many people they'll have playing in the IPL, where they could
we have some form players. So we have Dave Gravity, we have the likes of really David Gravity. Who's the other person I'm thinking that was in the captaincy role? I mean, Peterson certainly is. Even Hollyoak. They're pretty just discerning about who should be in and out. They were quite adamant on occasions about certain people being out. And it's always good to look at those two squads that we've had since the previous World Cup. We've had a T20, haven't we?
What do you mean, sorry?
Well, what other games have we had that have been played between, say, the previous team selected and now this team?
Previously, I don't know. Just in Australia, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, I'm talking about tours, not individual players, but the tours. So.
Now, Ronak says people putting Kohli at 4 have gone mad. Kohli would play number 3. I'd bat him at 3. I've just gone on what I think. He seems to like batting at 4. I don't know why. He 40 odd games as captain. He's batted at 4 in 20 odd games with him. I think he'll bat at 3. I would bat him at 3 personally. So it'd be Sky then who bats at 4. But yeah, I think Kohli should bat at 3 for sure.
So the most significant person for both tomorrow's game and the ODIs is one name.
Sorry, say that again.
What name is prominent to you for both the one ODI about to occur and the Test series in terms of the T20 series?
So who do I think will be good player tomorrow and in the one days?
and sorry, the T20 series, who will be the player that we'll be most looking to, and the ODI player we'll be most looking to?
In the World Cup. So I'm confused.
No. We're going through the most current situation.
Okay.
Tomorrow's game.
Yeah, and the one days.
The ODIs.
Josh Butler.
India. For India. Assuming the
Rohit
size.
Sharma.
Sorry?
Rohit Sharma.
Oh, really? My eyes just went. I think he's a sensation in one-day cricket, and I hope he does go. But we need to have that happen. He's box office material. We need him to show what he can really do when it most counts. And I love to see him win a World Cup on the basis of his batting in a very important match. That would be great to see, because we always talk about Tendulkar not winning matches and not winning World Cups, even though they did win a World Cup. It wasn't on the strength of Kohli's batting on the day, I don't think. Do you remember that? The last World Cup they won.
Yeah, it was at Eden Gardens, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Which I can't remember.
That was in Mumbai, I thought.
Dhoni got 90 odd out, didn't he? And Gambhir, I think sort of the unsung hero of that game was Gautam Gambhir, got 97 if I remember. So it was against Sri Lanka, wasn't it?
They gave us Dhoni on the day, but
Yeah.
it's because he finished the whole innings itself. I like to actually. I'll take another name into play. I like to see Pandya grab it, not unlike a Ben Stokes, and really shake it and leave a stamp on it, because he has actually come out with a very unusual looking bat, not the one that's I've talked about recently, but another form bat which had writing over it or something, which was abnormally big. Anyway, he got a lot of runs with that. So
I just don't think. Yeah, I think it's tough on Hardik to compare him to Ben Stokes. I don't think that. I don't think generally Hardik. I think he's a good all-rounder, but I don't think he excels in either. Like, I don't think if you're comparing to Stokes, I think that Stokes, in general, I'm not saying in yesterday or whatever, but I think that Stokes is a better batter, just the batting, and is a better bowler, just the bowling, if that makes sense. So, I think that Hardik is a long way to go before he can be considered one of the best all-rounders. He's a whacker. He's probably more effective coming in at the end of the innings and scoring a quick 60 or 70. But, if you had to pick one guy to score you 100 in all formats, it'd be Ben Stokes. And if you had to pick a guy to change a game with the ball, whether it be in a one day or a test match, it would be Ben Stokes as well.
I just had a few people messaging me that they've played a game of cricket today. That's what's happened, and they're very stuffed. In fact, they look like they're a bit worse for wear. So they played a longer version. Again, the two guests I had on today, Nipuni Hunsaker and Rebecca Van Dort, are pressing they're playing for Carlton, and they're actually, in my view, what I was saying, they're pressing for state selection, which is a pretty big deal. And I'd love to see the fairies tale story that they were able to qualify as Australian players. Now, Sai Krishna is here. Good evening, Norman. Now, he was the fellow who messaged me on Instagram about the inability to become a member because in America there was a lack of the tabs. Well, he's now a member, and he's got the green emoji.
Good to see Sai. Hello, mate.
So it's not the other side. This is a different side.
Lots of
So,
sides.
Christian, are you following Chris on Twitter? You're following me on Instagram. I know, but I'm not sure about the Twitter relationship.
I don't remember seeing Sai Krishna following me on Twitter. I could be wrong. If I'm wrong, then I apologise to him profusely.
Yeah, he's certainly been on Instagram though. He's very, very, very.
Yeah, I don't have Insta, so I'm not sure.
No, okay. All right. Shardul and Siraj for the World Cup. We've talked about Shardul somewhat, but not about Siraj at all.
Yeah, he seems to be the forgotten man a little bit, and he might not play a lot of cricket if that's. I think he needs to have a good IPL. I assume he might play a bit in the one-day series. Bumrah's not there, so I think that he looks like the sort of bowler that will probably have a longer Test career, just because he looks like he can swing it. So he'll go well overseas, and for Indian conditions, he bowls quite straight and has an action that might suit reverse swing. So, I like him, but he's only young. He's not played a lot of cricket, so I don't see how he gets in India's Test side for England. If you're going to pick four seamers, if you've got Hardik in there,
Four seamers for the squad.
No, for the first Test match against England.
Okay.
Obviously, Hardik plays as that batting or bowling all-rounder, so he's the fourth seamer. So they need to pick three other seamers, and Bumrah obviously gets a gig.
So we've got official Sai has made comment about the other side, and so there are many Sai, lots of Sais around. So official Sai, don't be confused by Sai Krishna. I wasn't initially because I thought it may have been the same person, but it certainly is not. Sushil Shukla said, I think Sky is tailor-made for ODIs and tests.
The problem he's got is he's not young. He's 30. It's.
He's nowhere near.
I'm not saying that's. I'm not saying that's old. I'm just saying that if you look at how many players India have got coming through, why hasn't he been? He's played 100 IPL games. He's been around a while. Why hasn't he been in the Test match mix before now? There must be a reason. Whether it's his first class record isn't great, but you've got Gill, you've got Agarwal, you've got Pretty Shaw. you've got all these young guys coming through who have been in the mix in the Test side or in the first class game for a while. So my only question over Sky Yadav is, at 30, why has he never had a tour? Why has he never been in the mix to play Test cricket? Because if he's that good, they would get him in.
But you could say something about Michael Hussey.
But Michael Hussey didn't play because of how good Australia were at the time. You know, there is slots in that Indian. What I'm saying is he's probably been playing for 7 or 8 years, and he's never been. Michael Hussey was touring. Michael Hussey was in Aussie squads. I just haven't heard Sky. You know, I'm sure he's got a great first class record, but I just wonder why at 30 he's never been in the mix. Never had a tour, never been in the squad. So I think Mike Hussey would have had a best career in any other era of cricket ever. You know, he just had the greatest Australian batting lineup of all time. So slightly different. But yeah, I just wonder if they think that they're better investing their time in a 22, 23-year-old in the Test side than a 30-year-old. But I don't know. If he's that good, then he'll play. So.
Well, there's been a few sides. The Rays selected a side which is very similar, but he has none of Rajan featuring it. The bowling of Chahal, not the spin bowling, but the medium pace / fast medium bowling, we haven't seen much of that, have we?
From
the same name, Chahal.
Yeah, I haven't. I mean, he's meant to be very good. That's a bit as well, but clearly he's going to have the IPL to stake his claim for that World Cup squad. You know, he might get a tour to England, test the one-day stuff.
So this is the T20 ODI series we're seeing currently are the last series that India will play on, other than the IPL and the World Cup.
I think I heard someone say that they've got a series against Sri Lanka and South Africa, maybe in the T20. Music Harmony, he'll know.
They've got Sri Lanka potentially in Sri Lanka.
Yeah, I heard. They might play they might be playing away from home, but I think they've got other series as well. But yeah, I'm not entirely sure on that. Sorry.
All right. So you've got both of the actual, well, not the toss. What was the two that you saw that you have documentation of?
Oh, our two playing 11s.
Yeah. No, and yeah. No, I'm getting at something else. Just lost my train of thought. The two that you've written down the teams that we've put forward, correct?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm just trying to think of the train of thought I've got. In terms of selections, the World Cup selections, we've got those.
Yep.
Okay. And we're looking at an IPL series where we'll be able to dissect the players more. So we should have a very good formulation of teams and how they emerge. I think that's okay. But they're not playing any more matches in India beyond the IPL. That's as Indian teams. There's no matches they are
I'm
playing.
Not sure. Yeah. Music Harmony, repeat your question. Are India playing any other T20 series before the World Cup as a country?
Other than Sri Lanka, which is away.
I saw someone they might play in South Africa.
I don't think they are. The way that I heard Kohli talking, he said in some cases it was the last chance other than IPL, so that may be pertinent. Not a lot of time between the IPL and then the England series, which is 3 months. So it'll effectively take up June, July, August. They'll only have really part of September, and then they're into October, November, where the World Cup is on. They got literally days, maybe weeks, a few weeks in total between the World Cup and what they're doing prior to that. Okay, so there won't be any time to do anything more.
According to BCCI inside reports, they are playing South Africa and New Zealand in India.
When?
Well, that's what Music Harmony said. So I don't know, but I guess that might be the month leading up to the World Cup or something. They might play a few games as a warm up. So yes, they are planning.
Teams do generally tend to go early, don't they? They do play round robins and the like against other.
You go BCCI planning T20 series of NZ and South Africa before the World Cup.
And there'll be other matches that will be played also in trials leading into it for the World Cup. So they won't be lacking, I can assure you.
Munchie says, eyes on cricket, Norman Kochnak. Question for the Indian fans. Which England players do they fear and be serious? I think that there's a lot of the England side are match winners. I think in 2020 cricket you have to have match winners, and if you look down both sides have probably got a similar number. You know, I think that who would you say is an out-and-out match winner with the ball for India in this current side? I don't think they've got anyone who you would say is an X factor out-and-out match winner. I think that
Bumrah, what are you talking
no,
about?
I'm saying in the current series is what I'm saying.
Okay.
Obviously, they've got Bumrah, Jadeja probably. I think they're consistently a decent bowling attack at the moment, but they don't have a Jofra Archer, you know, do they? So, but you know, I think both batting lineups. I think fear factor wise, you know, you've got Roy, Butler, Morgan, probably Stokes. I don't know. In this series, he's been a bit out of form, but in general, you'd probably say he's one of those sort of guys. And then you've got Sharma, Kohli, Pant. So that, yeah, both sides have got some good guys to fear. So I don't think they're saying Boothie is a match winner. I'm not saying he's not a good bowler, but I don't think you look down the list and say he's going to take 4 for 20 and have a massive, you know, tear a game apart in a couple of overs like an Archer or Bumrah could do. I think he's consistently a very good bowler, but I don't think he's what you'd call an X factor or a match winner. He's more of a consistent guy with that new ball. So.
Okay. If you're not going to have Shami in there.
Yeah, I'm just saying at the moment with the current side, I don't think Sharmy, he's quite expensive in T20s. I think he goes at 8.5, 9. So, you know, Guru Bank saying Boothie is better at the death than Archer. Yeah, let's not talk about that. You don't mean that, Guru. Archer's the best in the business.
I don't think there's any more significant in the England side than Ben Stokes.
Mm-hmm. He's the guy that in big games, bat and ball, he's always there or thereabouts. He's always in the mix, and he struggled a bit in this series. He's lost quite a lot of weight. You know, his dad died in November, so I think in terms of headspace, he's probably not at his peak mental state. But, you know, he's a quality player. He showed yesterday that.
I saw for the first time today evidence of the training drills that the players are taking on during the leading into the IPL. They're doing. I'm talking about the Australian players. There's a fair bit of legwork that they do. They really excel at the fitness level, don't they? Really.
You have to be going into that. I think Ben Stokes said in the last 2 tests, or in the test match where he bowled all those overs, he lost 5 kilograms in that test match.
Unbelievable.
That's a lot of weight. I mean, we looked at him yesterday. My dad said, you know, he looks like he's lost some weight. So it's intense. You know, it's tough on these players. And Ben Stokes is quality. Like, I know some of the Indian guys are saying he's not a T20 player, but I'm fairly sure he was one of the MVPs in the IPL, you know, a couple of years ago. So yeah, people have bad series. I mean, look at some of the Indian guys aren't having great series. So that's 2020 cricket for you know, form. You just have to. The side that wins the World Cup will be the side that can
peak.
That can peak at the right time. And it's the same for a Rugby World Cup. It's the same for a Football World Cup. You know, it's the best sides find a way to peak at the time and not be coming down off the top of the peak. So. Yeah.
All right, I'm just conscious of time. Do you have something to do? No.
I'll be heading off in the next 5 minutes if that's okay. I've got a busy afternoon.
So Ray's talking in terms of he's talking about players' averages. I think there was something there. The wood economy for CSK, death 11, only pitch holding him. They're saying that the importance of it for CSK position of wood. Is that what he's saying? Is that what?
Yeah, he's got whacked a bit in the IPL and he's played before. I think that some of the pitches don't suit him, being small grounds with the pace on the ball. But he seems to have just found another gear. Wood. He's got his run up back. He's changed his action a little bit. So, you know, I don't think he's suited. I think he'd be better suited to Australian conditions or South African conditions or English conditions, but you know, I think he's been a positive find in this series. I think that he's impressed, and you know, it's only going to benefit the England side. So
the school's out a bit there. I don't think that I don't believe that Kohli should be anywhere else with number 3 in the batting order.
Yeah. I think Garib is right. Boovi has a better economy than Jofra. Boovi's economy rate is 7, whereas Jofra Archer has an economy of 7.6. Yeah, with over 4 games, how many wickets has Boovi taken? 2 or 3? Archer's taken 10, maybe?
Yeah.
You know, I know I'd rather. Archer was the MVP in the IPL last year for, you know, a side that didn't even make the finals. Who would you rather have in your side? That's a question for Gariba Music Harmony. If Boovi's a better death bowler and is a better bowler, if you had to have one of them open the bowling for your side in the IPL or for your India in the World Cup, I guarantee you'd both be taking Jofra Archer every day of the week.
IPL would be the telltale sign for this. Okay, I'm losing my train of thought regarding. I want to go back to Kohli's position in the batting order. I think that he should be number 3. Okay, not 4.
Yes, I agree.
Okay, all right. So where then you think the number 4 should be whom?
Well, it's Yadav or Kishan, I guess, or Aya. It's tough, isn't it? Aya certainly seems to be popular. You know, he's played 20 or 30 games now. They clearly like him, and he's done well. So he's the man in possession, and he will be very keen to not give up possession. So I would imagine, depending on how, I think that batting slot, they're having a look at the moment and seeing how they cope against probably the best 2020 side in the world at the moment. And I think the IPL will play quite a big part of that batting slot. You know, if Aya goes out and scores truckloads of runs and the other 2 don't or don't do as well, then I think Aya keeps a slot. If Aya has a poor IPL and one of the others goes really well, then I think that they'll probably side with one of those. So, yeah.
But do you think they've got someone in mind already? And sorry, they've got an order already decided in mind. They're going to just see how the IPL pans out.
Yeah, I think so. I think they'll have a good idea. I think that there's probably one slot, as we said, it's those 3 guys for one slot. They've probably got someone who, if the World Cup started tomorrow, then they probably would go with Aya, I imagine, just because he's the man who's done pretty well. But yeah, I think they'll use the IPL just to see who can find form and who looks the best. You know, bearing in mind a lot of the Australian guys, South African guys, English guys overseas are all playing. So you're gonna be able to see how they go against bowlers that they'll be facing in the World Cup. So,
what else has happened because of this COVID situation? Because of the lack of certainty around certain players have been isolated. Once they separate, they've been isolated. The team harmony is not really there. The Australian team. I mean, Warner was on a program talking. It was more of a comedic skit. He did a little bit of a discussion. I think he's running around doing too many slots, and he's not concentrating on his own form. I know he's got a while to go, but he's too busy in the video hype and the photographic hype and the brand hype, which his wife has a lot to do with.
Candice.
Candice, yeah. We see Warren a lot at the moment. He's in Tasmania for the New South Wales versus Tasmania Shield match, which has some importance. He's already down at the 3rd day. When he comes to Sydney, he tends to hang around Ramwick Peterson a little bit because he's a part of that club with Kaddish and both. Obviously, there's a whole heap of ex-players that play this. And yeah, all right. How are you going time-wise?
I might head off, Norman, if that's okay.
Yeah, I'm bitterly disappointed the 2 goals have missed out a second time, but I'll get them. When they come on, they'll light the stage because they're both very funny, engaging. Their English has gone through the roof. Having stayed in Australia, they're very articulate indeed. So at this point, we're not going to see anything dramatic happen with the teams tomorrow. I don't think it'll be pretty much as per program. We went through them earlier. We've recorded our games into the future, so we've got a fairly good handle. Not much of a change going on, I think, in particular with England and also with India. Great.
No, I don't see too many changes. I think both sides would be keen to win the series.
Exactly. All right, so we'll say goodbye to Chris Vernon at Fern158. Let's have a bit of a question answer banter on his Twitter, shall we? Okay, I'll see you there. Thanks, Chris. I appreciate it.
See you later, guys. Have a good one.
Ciao. I'm just going to finish with a couple of the questions that we've got on board in case we've missed any. Shivyansh Sharma, Jabol Raha in block a month. I'm not understanding that, so you have to speak that in English. I think you have to translate. I'm sorry, I can't be able to ask that one. Ronak 98, Indian batting order just has one left hand in the top. That's bad for India. That's pant. Yeah, you're right, and that's where they may have some of the younger guys come in to take that position. And I think that's a very good point. We probably do have a need to balance it with more left-handers. But if the best side are all right-handers and they're excelling at this point in time, like a Butler, a Stokes, well, or we have to be careful not just to pick batting left and right-handers for the sake of it. If the batters are all good right-handers and they're handling it and they're getting big scores, well, why would you just leave them in and not worry about that? And when it comes up later, you might adjust. But I think at the moment, that's not necessarily the imperative of that. Okay. In general, yeah, okay. People are going. I've had a few people comment about the Hindi comment that's been written out. If I can't understand it, and you try to pull one over me with either a rude or sarcastic or bad joke, we'll sort it out. Either the guys will gang up on you, or we'll let YouTube know, and YouTube will take care of you. And you may not be. You can't abuse it just by writing a different language to what I'm speaking. It's not fair. It's not right. All right, guys. This is Norman Kochnick signing off from Eyes on Cricket. I'm so sorry that Rebecca Van Dort and Putty Hunsicker couldn't come. They will, hopefully in the future, so we'll get them on as well as a number of other new guests as well. So again, Norman Kochnick on Eyes on Cricket with Norman Kochnick. See you guys. Thanks for coming.